stared at a piece of road near where we live. A bend with the right camber. A junction with an interesting sweep. Or an avenue that's 6 cars wide. We've all stared at that piece of road and thought of a racing car blasting through with us behind the wheel, navigating those same roads we drive daily or explore by foot. To take those bends with reckless abandon, or to drive a car with uninterrupted speeds. What a thrill that would be. When you look at this place from the air, this park, it doesn't immediately stand out as a potential racing course. It doesn't have the elevation of a Braunschweig park or the natural flow of the streets of Po. But this was an important place for racing. For a short span from 1948 through 1951, this park, Prinzenpark in Braunschweig, Germany, hosted some of the first races here after the Second World War. Racing had actually restarted a couple of years earlier, not even a year after the war. In late 1946, a small section of the Autobahn east of the city was closed to host some motorcycle events. The event was a wild success, and it was this and the subsequent second annual that prompted the city to find a more spectator-friendly and less disruptive venue. And so for 1948, the Prinzenpark circuit was born. From a map, the layout looks uninspired, a series of 90-degree corners typical of a street circuit with a small flourish towards the end of the lap. But the character of the roads, the varying widths, the changing surfaces, the curbing, the bumps, the small rises, and sweeping bends over tram tracks and onto park roads, all of these details make it fascinating. And it's these details that have been recreated so well by Sergio Loro in Assetto Corsa. It's one thing to recreate one of the legendary venues, to rummage through archives of historical photographs and the odd video footage, to read histories of a place or adapt a modern circuit to its earlier form. But something like this. There's nothing. If you search for Prinzenpark-rennen, very little information is available. You'll probably stumble upon more videos and information about this recreation than anything about the actual historical event. It's all really thanks to Yannick Hallstein, a local of the area and an avid sim racer himself, for researching and supplying Sergio with the information needed to make something like this. These are his roads, the ones you stare down each day and imagine a race, but Yannick knew a race had actually happened here. And what a better way to relive what it might have been like than in our favorite sim.
Place to slot into line as we'll head into the first corner for a little Formula Junior race through the park. A couple cars out braking me, come through second gear, get it on the throttle. So we'll head on to another straight. The beginning of the lap here at Prinzenpark brings you really around the park itself. It's all off to our left there. We'll rocket down this second straight. There's a little sports stadium or soccer field off the left here towards the end. We'll brake just before the 100 marker, get down a couple of gears because the track narrows up quite a lot here. So we'll head on to another street. This heads slightly uphill. We've got a train track off to our right. We'll head towards the Ebertale. Right at the bridge, we'll take a left. Just get stacked up behind a car in front trying to pick a lane. This is a faster left than it looks like, but a lot of bumps in the middle of it. This will jump over and right up to the back of another car. And now onto the Ebertale. This heads us back towards the start-finish, but just before we get there, we're going to turn off and into the park proper. And watch for that braking. Again, this is a tighter corner than it looks like. Quite a tricky one with a late apex. We'll make enough space for ourselves on the inside, slide through side by side, now into the park itself. This is, I think, a footpath these days. We'll wind our way, but a tight corner coming up here, tightest on the track. Get it down a couple of gears, down to second. And watch for the inside line car in front. Tries to outbrake me. We make a little bit of contact wheel to wheel there. So come through a long right-hander then onto cobblestones that get really slick towards the end of the lap. Slide the car to the left around a city block. Little left foot braking to get the car to slide. We've got some tram lines on the road here, which are very, very bumpy. Oh, as the car in front bounces over them as well. through into the final corner, then a long right-hander, and you want a good exit from this as it gets onto that front stretch. There we go, up a gear. So come across the line then to start another lap, whizzing past all the houses and the fence posts and the objects. It's really all that detail that makes something like this so much fun. And I think the surface is really where this has got the detail. I've talked about Sergio Loro's surfaces before for these different tracks that he makes, but this one is got to be the most detailed one I've ever driven on, and it helps make it feel so alive. So come down this long stretch here, see if we can maybe outbrake a car. They're very good on the brakes, the other cars. As we'll slide through the middle of two of them. I lucked out there just a little bit. These are Sergio Loro's Formula Junior cars, and I love racing with these. We're side by side up into the Ebbetale. We've got the inside line this time. Hug those hay bales on the inside to make the pass. I love racing these cars, and I think they're the perfect cars for a track like this. They're not quite the same thing that would have run here for the Formula 3 or the car races. I think these are a little bit too fast, but they do fit quite well, and they're not so fast that they make it hard to handle as the two in front make a little bit of contact. I'll slide my way into the park. It's the end of the lap here that I think really makes this circuit something special. So I'll try to find the braking marker here. It's a tricky corner, a little bit of cobblestones on the inside. I'll lock up the brakes slightly. There we go, get it crossed up. They're gonna fade to the left. We'll try to grab that inside line, past all the spectators, make the move of the race. Get it down to second gear on the cobbles. They're so bumpy. It's not just less grip. You can really feel the difference in the surface. That's what I'm talking about with the different surfaces and things. It's not just a grip file change or something. All right, we'll work our way towards the final couple of corners. Car on the insides, taking his life into his own hands with those rails. Slide it around, almost over rotate. Luckily able to hold on to that. Included with this track, though, are several different files, so you can tune it to what you want. I've got the medium bumps on, but I think you should try the max bumps if you're doing some laps alone, just to really feel what the circuit could be like with all those different details in it. There's also some different files for buildings and things to make them maybe a little less resource intensive. There are a lot of objects on this track, and it's one of those things that makes city tracks especially so difficult to recreate in sims like this. It's just the number of things that you have to make, but as you can see, I think it's clearly been done extremely well. Carry a lot of speed there around the outside as the two in front make a little error. We'll come up to the Ebbetale again. Keep it in third gear, let it ring out. Car on the inside though. Wheel to wheel over the tram tracks, right out to the hay bales there. I had to give it an extra second on the throttle. Racing cars around here is one thing. They raced motorcycles predominantly, were the most popular thing to race, especially post-war. And I really cannot imagine racing motorcycles around a circuit like this. Get side by side though, make another pass, but we're going to be toe to toe as we head into the slower corner. Down to second gear, car right on my left side. Ooh, he's going to be really late on the brakes. We'll try for the over-under. So he makes a bit of contact with the outside wall, just able to get on past him. It's definitely a full workout to race a car around here, but that's what makes it so great. And I'm really thankful for Sergio and folks to recreate stuff like this for Sims, because I would have never known the story of this circuit if it wasn't for something like this, and I certainly wouldn't have known it in the detail that I feel like I do now. Although this is a version of the track that's made to be maybe as if the race had continued into the 1960s with some additional advertisements and a pit lane and some extras on it, because there really isn't the reference available to make it exactly like it was in the 1950s. But having something like this that you can go and drive around just increases the enjoyment of and understanding of an event like this, which really was so important. This race took place just a couple of years after the Second World War ended. And and was something, the first couple of races that took place on the highway had to be helped by the British to get some extra fuel and things. It was that recent that it wasn't easy to get those types of supplies to hold something fun like this, but it is a really cool little slice of history and something that I think sim racing suits so well. Onto the Ebertaler. We're on the last lap now, and I think I've got 2 cars ahead of me. They're a little far up the road there. I don't think I'm going to be able to catch them, so we'll just enjoy the final sequence of this lap, because I really do think it is the cool part of the circuit. Get down a couple of gears for the slow corner, on the throttle as early as possible to help get that car to rotate. We'll launch it through the park. You've got all the crew garages and things, their base camp, as it were, off to the right there. So we'll come to the slow corner, then down to second gear. We'll lock up the tire a little bit as we lessen the load on it. And now we'll work our way past the spectators. You can see the cathedral off to the right. So many custom buildings and objects made for this track. It's not a copy and paste job at all. We'll slide around the cobblestones, let it ring out in second gear, just to 4-speed on this car, get it over the tram lines, come through the final couple of corners to complete our little, I guess we'll call it a qualifying race around Prinzenpark. It's such a neat track. I wanted to show this off. It wasn't something that I knew anything about, like I said. So around the final corner there, it wasn't something I knew anything about, and I mistakenly looked past it when Sergio first released it a few weeks back. Thought that looked cool, but because it wasn't a Nürburgring or a Spa or one of those names of a track that I recognize, but I should really know better at this point. It's tracks like these that I think make sim racing, historic sim racing, what it is, because you can experience something that you really didn't know anything about and now get a little taste of what those events might have been like. So I hope you enjoyed it as well. It's definitely a track to go check out. Sergio released it for free, but you can donate to him, which I recommend doing if you like his work and want more things like this in the future. I know I do, but that's it for now. Thanks for watching. This is GP Laps, and I'll see you all again next time.